Hey everybody, welcome to the 1804 show, chapter 2. I'm your host, Dollar Will, and this is another episode of 1804 History. And before I start, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, the 1804 show, chapter 2, and let's get it. So today, I'm going to be talking about the murders of Bunchy Carter and John Huggins. And I found out about this incident on the documentary, and I wanted to give my thoughts. I wanted to tell as much as a story as possible from what I learned. From just in case I missed some things, I will be doing another video on this subject, so that don't tear me up in the comments or don't tear me up in the description box or whatever about it. But these two was young men. These two were in the LA chapter of the Black Panther Party, and one was a former gang member, which he was a part of the gang called Slauson, the same neighborhood basically Nipsey Hussle came from. But yeah, these two were young when they died. Bunchy Carter was only 26 years old, and John Huggins was only 22 years old. So at the time, it was just really bad because Dr. King was assassinated 1968. So it was just like, what to do now. So a lot of people that you would consider political started to come around, and people who were former gang members and stuff ended up joining the Black Panther Party and becoming militant and stuff like that, because it was just a whole lot of riots during that time, because it was the police department. The racism in California was just at a high, like pretty much at like an all-time high during this time. So it was two groups that was pretty much prominent. It was the US organization, and it was the Black Panther Party. So once J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI, CIA, the government, and all that found out that these two groups were at odds with each other, they practically put more gasoline on the fire. So like they will send these letters to the Black Panther office and acting like that it was the US organization, saying that, oh, I'm gonna put a hit out on you, I'm gonna bomb this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And little do they know these is a FBI informants, or these are government agents issuing these letters and drawing these cartoons, and they pretty much playing both against each other. So on the day of January 1969, these two men were at the UCLA campus, recruiting, speaking up, networking basically. And just so happens an unknown gunman by the name of Claude Herbert first shot John Huggins in the back. And then as soon as Bunchy saw it, he tried to save a innocent bystander, and he ended up getting shot in the chest. So the shooter pretty much was affiliated with the US organization. So at first, when news broke out that this happened, it became like, okay, we gotta get our retribution. I want revenge type thing. So they was told by Huey not to retaliate because they didn't want blacks killing blacks. But they knew later on that it was all orchestrated. Even the wife of John, Huggins, said that even though the FBI didn't pull the trigger, they instigated the whole thing. And it just was one of those things that when two groups of black people who think differently, who side with different views and stuff like that, it's always going to be conflict. It's always going to be, well, my way is right and your way is wrong type thing. Because the US organization was more cool, calm, and collected, laid back, while the Black Panthers was all in your face and we ain't gonna take no shit from nobody and type thing. So they just really realized that it was somebody who was pulling the strings from behind the scenes and who was playing puppet master. But I just look at it like this, like anytime when you have groups of people who wants better for the community, who wants better for their habitat and ecosystem, it's always going to be people who are on the outside that's going to cause disruption and cause chaos and cause destruction within the groups. And it's just unfortunate that these men lost their lives just doing what was right. And I just feel like, nobody really dismantled a group like they did the Black Panther Party. And the Black Panther Party wasn't terrorists. They didn't never killed anybody. Like, if anything, these was agents. These was people who was on a FBI payroll, who was dressed like Panthers and go shoot up these landmarks or set up other people in conspiracy. And they never did anything wrong. They fed the community. They provided free breakfast programs, and they also walked the walk instead of talk. They did what was necessary for the community, and most was arrested, most was harassed, brutalized, neutralized for their efforts. And these were young kids, these was young people. Now that I'm in my 30s, I just look at the impact that these young people have made, because they realize, like, look, we gotta live here, so we gotta make it better. We gotta make sure that we take care of our own. And there's nothing wrong with that. Only if you a conservative, only if you're a hater, that you will find some error in civilians taking care of their communities. You got to be a strong bigot to think what the Black Panthers was doing was communism, but it wasn't. It was more self-preservation. It was more self-love, self-care. And this goes on today. And you don't have to be a leader to go through these type of things. It's just by being outspoken, being vocal, being proud of who you are, knowing who you are, you're going to get attacked the most. But they use the court of public opinion before they assassinate you. They assassinate your character first before they actually physically assassinate you. And it's just unfortunate that today it's worse than we thought. Because I feel like if they would have let them do what they was going to do, then it would be as much rioting, it wouldn't be much gun violence, it wouldn't be drugs, it wouldn't be AIDS and poverty if they would have let them do what they was going to do. So yeah, it's just, we all suffered behind leaders being assassinated and going to prison. And it still goes on today. Like, the stuff that happened 50, 60 years ago is still going on today. We are still being brutalized by the police. We're still being assassinated, but this time it's on camera. Instead of hearing about it or reading about it, we've seen it with our very own eyes now. So we just have to understand that we are our own worst enemy sometimes. And these was black people that assassinated these two leaders. And it's not always black versus white. It's not always black on black crime, but it's some black people who don't want change, who don't like change. It's black people who would do the oppressor's dirty work. So we have to call them traitors out, because we have a lot of traitors. We have a lot of people who rather to keep things the way that it is instead of trying to make a change in our communities, because it will affect their money, it will affect their fame, or it will affect their egos. So we have to call those people out who are a part of the problem instead of the solution. And it's just unfortunate that a lot of this stuff is happening today and nobody does anything or say anything about it. It's always an excuse, but it's bigger than Nino Brown. You feel me? It's deeper in the rap. And just know that it's just pathetic. You know, there's so many people that's still walking around here that did things. And yeah, the shooter never been convicted for this crime, but his associate, his accomplice was Watani. Forgot the last name, sorry, but I forgot the last name, but his name was Watani. He was given a life sentence for these two murders, while he told the authorities that, hey, I didn't pull the trigger, I didn't shoot or kill anybody, I was just there. So the real shooter is still at large, never been caught, never been tried, because he was an agent. So they use black people to become agents to infiltrate these particular groups. You know, just like they use agents and use black people for a long time. And these people are traitors. These people committed treason. And any traitor, you know, what you would call snitches today, should be dealt with, should be put on trial and executed for helping the establishment. But let me get off here. I don't want to say anything that's going to get me flagged or get me hate speech or anything like that, because it's not hate speech, it's facts. This is the truth. But I'm done with this episode. Hope y'all guys hope you guys learned a whole lot. Stay tuned for more videos, more episodes. And like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you want to donate, the Cashapp is $, the 1804 show. And see y'all later. Peace.